And here we are. What time is it,
Took a
Matthew?
while. Mate, I believe it's time to make him.
Make him pay. That's right. Welcome all. Glad you can join us. It is episode 1 of the Make Him Pay NBA Fantasy Podcast.
Here we
Brought to you
go.
by Squeak Scolari Fantasy Basketball. And as you probably noticed, we are your hosts, Matthew Cowie.
How you doing?
Very well. And myself, Ryan Purcell.
Big thank you to everyone that's tuning in because you are the specific people that we have sent the link to this private recording to. So, yeah, you're only watching it because you know it exists. So thank you for that so far, getting the numbers out there. But yeah, super excited to get this cracking, man. Very early days, but very keen.
Multiple numbers, or is it just so we just send it to one person?
Just me, just you and me. We just keep this to the two of us. We're not just going to share this with anyone else. It's just a special moment that we have every week.
Got to start small.
Start real small.
Got to start small. Oh, look, I'm pretty sure I've heard it in a few places over the years of listening to podcasts left, right, and centre. I'm sure most pods don't last more than 3 episodes before they decide to give it the scrap. So let's aim for multiples and let's aim for more than 3.
So what you're telling me is episode 4 is like roll out the banners. We have a party.
That's success.
We've broken. Yeah, we're in. We're official.
That's success.
That's the benchmark. I'll take it. Yep.
One and only KPI.
4 and done.
Oh, look, long time coming. I think you'll agree with me in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've decided to get this thing off the ground to bring to more than just the group that currently exists undertaking this platform, or this, I guess, how would you say, fantasy basketball setup that we've got, that we've found over many years has been very enjoyable, very successful, and just amazing thing to play, keep ourselves busy with, and obviously keep a tight bunch of people together. So look, Matt, do you want to go into a bit about the a bit about us and here?
Yeah, for sure. Look, I mean, I suppose we're probably going to have a couple of different answers and different layers of context because we come at it from different angles, but a lot of the stuff tying us all together, a lot of us are former athletes, Australian track and field at various levels of competition, whether they be state, international. Like, we're all a bunch of guys ultimately that have competed against each other and made state teams, national teams over the years. We've known each other for a really long time. And I think a lot of that kind of undercurrent is, look, I'm pretty biased, but I think it's really special. And just to kind of add into what you were saying before as to why we want to do this and have the podcast, and not only have a bit of information about what's going on during the NBA season, how it pertains to our fantasy league, trades, our contract structures, being a keeper league, and all that kind of stuff, which we'll touch on in a minute. There's a lot of background, there's a lot of history between us all, and there's been some funny moments, dumb moments, happy, sad, everything in between. Like, there's just such a crazy level of investment with what we do, and we think that's really special, and that's why we want to share it. So, yeah, super excited. I mean, the background as to the title of the podcast, you can probably sprinkle a little bit on there. It's probably maybe a little bit self-explanatory for some, but outside of that, I'm pretty sure I was one of the inaugural guys. I can't remember I'm pretty sure I joined it in the first season because that was like what? God, that's over 10 years ago now, I think, now, isn't it?
2015. So, yeah,
So there you go.
Part of the reason why we're kicking this off, and just for even broader context, I think Matthew's touched on some of the emotional parts of why we continue to do this. So 10 years ago, a bunch of mates, a bunch of guys with similar interests got together and put together a bit of a fantasy NBA league. So, like many people do, and as we all know, there's a vast array of different platforms, different scoring setups, different league sizes, types, all sorts of stuff from people all around the world playing. We've built a league that started in 2015 and over the years molded it into a very competitive, very strategic, very, some would say complex. It's not complex once you get into it, but we'll leave the constitution and league setup rules and stuff for a segment a little bit later on tonight. And Matthew go through
one word to describe the constitution: daunting. And look, let's kind of knock this one on the head in the first episode. Does everyone read the constitution? Probably not.
There's about three of us.
But look, I'm sure we'll get Eric on at some stage very begrudgingly, our fine founder and commissioner.
Definitely.
He'll wax lyrical about how offensive that is to him and all of his hard work. But yeah, I mean, the framework. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just wind him up and watch him go. Yep. But yeah, the framework we've got in terms of the style of league and the keeper structure we have now, what it's really grown into. Like it was, very very rudimentary kind of stuff in the first couple of years, but it's really grown into something where a massive amount of investment, time, preparation, for some of us should always be more than it is.
Yep.
But yeah, the structure and the level of, devotion and attention to get something out of it. Not only is it fun, but it's actually pretty.
It is cutthroat. It's fun. It's cutthroat. That's I guess that's part of where I was moving towards with that explanation of our foundation.
Yeah.
Is it's what started out as a rudimentary league doing something that a lot of people around the world do to keep interested in sport and in particular a certain sport. And we built it with the help of everyone in the league into an enjoyable, very competitive league, which it is cutthroat, but as a result of that, it's fun. And I think it's part of the reason why we wanted to get this off the ground is for not only the guys in the league to build the drama, roll with the seasons as they come through, enjoy it in more detail, but also to get what we've built out to broader NBA fantasy players, just to say, hey, there is a bunch of different formats out there. There's some rudimentary ones. There's some complex ones. We've built this. It's fun. Try it. I think you'll enjoy it. And at the least, if you want to tune in and listen to the absolute drama and bad beats that continue to happen week on week as a result of how balanced and competitive this league is that we've built, join in, listen to our two voices and look at our two mugs.
That's it.
Talk about what happens.
Look, coming in November too, I'm hoping that kind of fills out pretty nicely in the next month or so, Prime. Mate, that just helped with the marketable mugs. But I mean, yeah,
fine balance between how far I grow that out and how silver I become. So I think it's not going any further, Matthew.
You don't want to take too much attention, otherwise we'll just completely overlay your camera. I'll just be in the corner. You don't need to see too much of this. But yeah, mate, yeah, well said. I think it's what has been super special in terms of everyone getting involved. These are the level that everyone's bought into it as well. Because you can so easily have guys that just phone it in and they're there for the fun, and there is nothing wrong with that. But yeah, this has really grown into something that I think. From a scoring standpoint too, you were touching on that before, whether they be basic or complex or, all the different styles of scoring matrices and stuff like that. We can touch on it at some stage. Ours is kind of a little hybrid, I'm pretty sure, like in terms of it's a bit of this, it's a bit of that, but then we've added a little extra flavour. So yeah, very unique.
And I think, look, it is like everyone's got their opinions on fantasy scoring matrices and setups. Some like categories, some like points, some like straight points, some like efficiency-based points, some like turnovers with categories, some like no turnovers with categories, some like offensive rebounds, defensive. There's so many different permutations that you can throw out there. You're right, ours is a bit of a hybrid, and we'll touch on that a bit later. It's a bit of a hybrid points-based system, efficiency-based. Some of the things are not for everyone, but we've tried and tested the scoring over this 10-year period, and it seems to be what works the best for us, at least. And not to say it's better than one or another. We're just saying it's fun.
I'll say it. I'll say it. It is better. But whatever you out there are doing, ours is better. I'll just say it. Let's just.
We're in episode 1, and I'm already being the politically correct, balanced person of this pod, and you've already come in over the top.
Let's not
smashing down the opinions.
Let's not mince words here. Okay, all right. We're cool. What we do super special. We're awesome. The end. And we didn't even get to episode 2. Tanked it. We tried to get to 4. Couldn't even finish 1.
For episode 2, we go through the. No, that's right. I'll leave it there.
Now, Cowie unfortunately has been unable to join us. He's been relieved of his position. Now, in terms of we've been talking about why we're doing this. We may as well, in terms of moving through what we want to talk about for our first episode, we can talk about when we're launching. Obviously, the lead up to the season, it's only a couple of weeks away for the start of the 25-26 season. We've had media days kicked off the last couple of days, even here in Australia. I mean, I'm based in Melbourne. A lot of the guys, like Ryan, are in WA, but we've got a couple of guys all around the country and even some international. But I mean, where I am at the moment in Melbourne, we've got the Pelicans and I think the Rockets. They've got a little bit of a pre-season series, and there's been some footage of Zion looking nice and lean, doing some of his
coverage as basically dominating the media that I've seen. I'm sure you can go into that.
Oh yeah, I look, as a fellow big man, I'm appreciating the hard work he's done. Perfect time, we feel, to kind of get a little bit of a build up ahead of steam before the season starts and talk about some of the moves that have been made, how the rosters are looking.
Yep.
I mean, look, we can kind of go through almost like a complete top to tail list, but I'll just go straight out with one of the bigger ones. No Tatum for the Celtics. We can just get the ball rolling from there.
Yeah, well, let's head into NBA news, and we'll use that in the context of NBA news that affects the Squeak Scolari League, and we'll go from there. So pick a couple of items. How about you pick 3? I pick 3. We can talk about some key off-season. Then after that, if you want to move into a little bit more detail around the actual league itself and where we're sitting coming into draft night.
Rock and roll, dude. Okay, well, look, let's just pick the one just because I touched on Tatum. As a Knicks fan, obviously that was pretty tough seeing any player that kind of caliber do an injury the way that they did in the playoffs. Obviously was pretty favourable for us, but that pretty much threw their entire off-season well into a massive mix, figuring what the hell they were going to do. I think they were kind of a bit of talk whether they were going to try and hold on to stuff and what they were going to do, but ultimately they've moved a lot of guys out of the way. I mean, you've got Porzingis has been moved, Holiday's gone. They're going to really try to hang on with Jaylen Brown and Derek White. And, I mean, do you think we're going to see Tatum this year? What do you think? This season, I should say. Yeah, definitely not this year.
My personal opinion, they're parking it. I think not. That's my gut feel. Look, they've shifted a lot of pieces. They're retooling. They have different priorities for this season. I think, it wasn't nice to see among the major injuries that happened late in the season. Halliburton being the other one.
Other one. Yep.
All of these big ticket items are going to affect the keeper setups for next season for our league, and also going to give opportunity to a bunch of people that you wouldn't often see in that position. So no, I don't think we're going to see him. I think Boston are retooling. I think that's going to open up some pathways for some lesser known Celtics players.
Yep.
And I think that it doesn't open up the East because the East is terrible as it is. So I think it'll just I think it'll just bump the Celts down a bit as we move forward and provide some opportunities to some of those mid to bottom tier Boston players.
Beautiful. I mean, look, it's actually going to be surprising, I think, the East, not necessarily in terms of the strength of the conference, but Tatum did what he did, and then Halliburton, they had a couple of weeks and just that mad run the Pacers had all the way through to the finals, only for him to do the same. They had this kind of golden window, this little period of time where they thought, holy shit, okay, like this conference is wide open now for the taking. We've actually got ourselves in a position with such a fantastic roster that we might actually be kind of, move our weight around and do something really special, and then all of a sudden, roster gets turned upside down just as quickly.
I know, and that's that seems to be life in the NBA. Like they move at a frantic pace. Whether it's mid-season, mid-game trading, whether it's retooling off an injury, whether it's just had enough of the coaching staff. It's a very cutthroat industry. We sit here in Australia and we follow professional sport in certain, specific sports at I would consider a lower level. The movement's not as fast. It's not as frantic. It's not as cutthroat. Yeah, there's not a day that goes by without some form of news in the NBA, and I think something as big as Tatum going down will throw the spanner in the works for not only the Celtics but for the East in general.
Well, yeah,
Matthew, how about noting you picked a big one to start with? How about you pick two more, I guess, either movements or pieces of news that you want to touch on, and I think I might touch on a few smaller bits of news, more recent stuff, and we'll balance that out. How does that sound?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Look, there's been so many developments for a whole bunch of teams, even just this off season. I mean, probably another one, maybe not necessarily so big, but a bit of a kind of a holdout from both camps is this whole situation with Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors, figuring out what the hell is going to happen there, because obviously there are salary cap implications. It'll affect their roster. Are they holding on to him to get rid of him? Does he even want to play anymore? Like how much he wants to get paid? It's just this massive mess. And the Warriors, I mean, God, a very aging roster, but obviously a hugely successful one. We're going to have to kind of sit tight.
Do you want me to add something to that?
Please do.
I know we're a couple of days out, but Jonathan Kuminga agreed to a 2-year, $48.5 million contract with the Warriors.
So we actually So there you go.
We're good to go. Whether that means that's tradable asset, whether that means that is. I'm in for the long haul, and Steve wants to play me is another conversation. But it sounds like he's held out long enough to ink a new deal, and that will help. That's definitely got to help Golden State, because look, I mean, as much as I love Steph, does anyone trust the ankles? So
I do. Yeah. I think
there you go. That was a very long-lasting negotiation process. I was genuinely concerned that he wasn't going to ink and that he wasn't going to sign with them, and I don't know where he was going to go. The rumor mill was rife, and there was plenty of discussions all around the place. But look, from a Squeaks perspective, that puts him on the radar for everyone's big boards, because he's got to have some form of impact there. But my own personal opinion, is he still set long term, or is he just?
I think
for Golden State's.
What would you say? It was 2 years.
2 years team option.
So You team up. Okay, there you go. There's those tasty two words. It's enough to make it marketable.
Mm.
Obviously not a massive spend, but I mean certainly no lack in talent.
Mm.
Going through one of the ESPN articles the other day, they were saying that he had become the youngest Warriors player with 3 straight 20-point games in the playoffs since 75 for the Warriors. Like, so there's no lack in scoring ability there. Obviously, age is a pretty big factor. That kind of contract, I mean, enough to give him a little bit of leverage if he wants to try and turn that into something special. Or, within the next 2 years, we're probably not going to be seeing the likes of Curry's and players like that from
Draymond.
that all-time. Exactly. Well, Draymond. I mean,
Clay's gone. Yeah.
well, Clay's long gone, but that's the thing. Is it enough of a contract to then they'll reach that transitional period if some of these bigger guys, these older heads start retiring?
They seem to be.
It depends what they see him to be.
Yeah, yeah. And the Warriors, they crack me up at times. I've not seen in recent times a team hold on for so long with their existing lineup. Like I literally just spent 5 minutes saying how frantic the NBA is and how quickly things move and how coaches move on, players move on, and then you've got a dynasty that's been held together with band-aids for the last 2 or 3 years, and they're just
that's why I brought.
Go on, tell me.
No, but that's why I brought.
Liar.
No, not at all. But that's why I brought it up as a not so large news item, because it's like, oh, the Warriors are actually having some kind of roster issue. That's a little bit interesting.
Yeah. They
normally just keep all the same people, like the really only surprising move they made was that Clay went away. Yeah. Everything else has kind of stayed the same. You got your Wisemans and bits and pieces like that, and some of the injury issues, sure, but it's not necessarily completely blowing up a roster.
Yeah.
They've managed to stay and hold on to that kind of core for a remarkably long period of time. You're exactly right.
Okay. All right.
No liar.
Now, no liar. Hey,
no liar.
Just while it's on my mind as well, if you don't mind me jumping in with the third bigger ticket item.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fred Van Fleet. How do you want to say it? Spit it out, Ryan. He is down and out. This is going to send a bit of not a spanner in the works, but it wasn't. I don't believe this is going to lead Houston to be set up the way we expected to when Durant signed his contract with them. That is just going to open up the point guard position.
Oh yeah,
couple of potential options there, and definitely some bigger impacts to younger players, and also, that sort of lifts the load a little bit for Durant as well in this scenario. Yeah, even looks back at players like Şengün, who you thought would probably take a back seat with a ball dominant point guard, a high usage scorer in Durant, and I thought there'd be some massive usage dips there with Şengün coming into the season, but this Fred injury has thrown that spanner into the works. What are your thoughts on Houston's makeup now? And sorry, one more question to add to that: who do you think will run the point?
Dude, I mean, it's probably worth bringing up, actually. Let's have a look. Let's check the Rockets depth chart just to see what kind of
and who's
wounded.
Who's got Fred on their list at the moment?
I have no idea who that might be. That's such a bizarre. I've never particularly liked him all that much. Let's have a look here. I had him last season. I did have him last season. Opted to move him on.
Confirm he is not a keeper.
Can confirm not a keeper. Yeah, tough. Really tough. Let's have a look. Let's check the Rockets depth chart and see kind of what kind of position they got here. I mean, Reed Shepherd, I think, is also injured, isn't he? And he's one of their guards.
I think what he had was not serious. So I think Reed's on the radar.
Okay, so day to day, so they're just shutting him down for the summer league. All right, well, in which case,
I would hazard a guess to say that, well, look, he would be he'd be the obvious choice as a pure point guard, right? Like, he's brought in for that role. My only thing that I'd add to that would be, how much do you see Amen Thompson with the ball?
Wow. I mean, shutting someone like Shepherd down, pretty indicative how they're going to be needing him a lot more than they were probably anticipating. So, yeah, summer reps would be good, but they're probably going to be needing him. They've got Amen. Let's have a look here. I mean, what's their starting five looking at? Reed Shepherd, Amen Thompson, you got Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith, and Şengün. I would love to see Amen get a whole bunch more of the ball, but I mean, with Van Vliet out of the way, you can talk as much as you like with Shepherd and Thompson. I think Durant is going to probably relish this opportunity to play as much ISO ball as he wants.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, one of the greatest scorers and just shot creators of all time. So he's entirely justified in that. But is that going to stunt the growth of those two with this opportunity they've had thrust upon them?
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't necessarily see Durant playing the entire season, so I'm sure they'll get their time. Yeah, look, the only other one that I can probably point a finger at for increased playing time is Tari Eason. That the impact that Jabari Smith had last year was hit and miss at times. I think Brett can attest to that. The owner of Jabari Smith as an RD or rookie pick in our league.
Yeah.
And Tari Eason could be in for high minutes, increase in presence in the rotation, and I think that's I think they'll spread the love with some of those younger players. But it's definitely a big one, and now we're up to 4 or 5 now. What have we called out big injuries this year? We've called out Halliburton, we've called out Fred, we've called out Lillard, we've called out Tatum in great detail. Like I don't remember, in talking to other people cross purposes in our NFL fantasy leagues as well as the NBA, I have not remembered a time where I'm seeing so many long-term massive injuries like Achilles and ACLs and all the rest of it. It's in a generation where strength and conditioning is such a prominent piece of any franchise. It's amazing what injuries are coming through at the moment. It's sad. It's sad from a spectator's point of view. It's frustrating from a fantasy player's perspective. Not that that's the be all and end all, because we're probably the lowest on the rung for people who care. But it's just
it matters more than people think. There's always implications.
Exactly. Look,
but I think
sports the frequency real loser here. Yeah.
It's sports, that's right. But the frequency at which some of these are happening in pre-seasons and the lead-ups, I think De'Aaron Fox has done a hamstring or something like that, I think, as well.
Yeah.
I mean, just scrolling through here, some of the injury list, I mean, a couple of guys, let's just take Brandon Clark and Zach Edey, for example, another one who has, he's expected to kind of reevaluate in 6 to 9 weeks. So that's a massive hit for the Grizz.
Yep.
Tyler Hero doing his ankle. That was yesterday, day before. DeJounte Murray from September. Like Achilles tendons. There's so many of these load-based injuries. It's really crazy. I'm not entirely sure how much has changed from a training regime side of things, whatever the strength and conditioning staff and stuff like that, whether it is a scheduling problem or at least something that needs to get discussed with, whether it be these additional, like the in-season tournaments and stuff like that. If there's extra load, there's extra games, stuff like that, that's affecting their capacity to actually play more often and more intensely.
You think game tempo and pace plays a big part in it?
Big time. Absolutely. For sure it would. Yeah. Much the same. I mean, our AFL season has just finished here in Australia, but that's been a topic of conversation in the AFL for a number of years now, and entirely justified.
Yeah. You asked David how many times he's bet the unders over the last 2 years, and we'll tell him to ask him whether the game pace has increased. only time he's ever betting the unders is in the WNBA. But yeah, we'll leave that.
You ask him how many times he's bet on that, and his answer will make him a lying man.
Yeah. We digress a bit here, but
yeah, we do.
But that's
We do. But
I think pace is a big one. The propensity for 3-point shots, the coaching strategies in terms of increased opportunity, I think is driving some of this. So yeah, definitely not a peer review article, but just my 2 cents for a sec.
My 2 cents. I'll add 2 final cents here. Just again, scrolling through some of these, looking through if there's any, later updates for the likes of Damian Lillard, but I can also see Scoot Henderson did his hamstring as well. And look, Scoot in particular, which is probably a great segue into fantasy implications with roster moves and what we do and how it, affects more than just the NBA season. But my God, I had such high hopes for that kid, and he broke my heart, Brian. He broke my heart.
I know. Look,
he's just not been able to make it work.
If I was in your position, I would have picked the same guy. Yeah, so yeah, I've got nothing I could say to you there, but it would have broken my heart in the same way.
That's the thing too. Okay, so for a bit of context for those playing at home, sports fans and speed freaks, this would have been not season before, 2 seasons ago, because it was his sophomore year last year. Comes to draft day. Well, actually, no, did we decide all this the day after? I think we decided all this the day after everything kind of happened. One of the guys in our league. Oh, who was it? It was Morgs, wasn't it? So yeah, I think missed the draft basically. Just got held up. Reasons known only to him.
Yeah.
His availability was questionable, and what we really pride ourselves on, again, talking about unique elements to our league, if we're talking about drafting and draft outlooks, keeper position, stuff like that. One of the big things I love about our league, because it is super cool, your first pick in the draft must be a rookie, and it's a mandatory dollar hit to your salary cap. And that, not only does that broaden the scope for the people that you need to be scouting and looking out for and picking and playing, because it's not just your big names, your Giannis's, your LeBrons, and all that kind of stuff. You've got to really broaden your scope and find guys that work, and you pay attention to the rookie draft class. So Morgs, for reasons known to him, couldn't make it to the draft, which kind of threw it all wide open, because it's obviously a big honor system. You've got to be there to make it work and pick the guys. Missed out on I think he did like an auto pick, bloody snafu or whatever, blew it all wide open, picked some player, got someone else, and in the commissioner's attempts to kind of level the playing field and reorganise everything, they shuffled players around. I had my eye on Scoot, missed out on him because of some picking numbers and everyone getting picked instead. Got the opportunity to get that back. And said yes, because, some of the other guys that we were looking at in that class, I thought, okay, look, Scoot's in such a fantastic position here. Dame's left. He's gone to Milwaukee. That position is wide open. He gets to be an understudy to some great people there. Portland in a real kind of state of flux at the time. It's like, dude, there's just going to get some reps. For a rookie, that's what you want. Just get the minutes. Who cares? But my goodness, I don't know if his glasses are a bit smudged. I don't know. Like, I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but he just was not able to execute in a remotely consistent fashion. And for how competitive the fantasy, sports world can be sometimes, it just was not reliable. So yeah, broke my heart in a big way.
I can imagine, and yeah, it's been the consistency and it's been the efficiency. So I mean, he's a we'll call him a smaller guard, very explosive, very quick, and yeah, wants to get to the rim. His efficiency and finishing numbers weren't high, and just the good games, the high-scoring fantasy games in our league were few and far between. And whilst that's to be expected for rookie picks in our first year, we do see a lot of them start to really elevate in year 2 if you can hold on to them, and obviously year 3, once they do hit their straps through their sophomore, they do ramp back up quite often. With the ones with talent really show that talent around that time. So it's something that I wanted to see for you.
Yeah.
Opportunity to get a top rookie pick, which doesn't come that often in our league, and it was it hasn't worked out. But hey, look, from one terrible rookie pick manager to another, I did select Markel Fultz one year, so I think we're good here. I think we're all even.
It all evens out. It all evens out. Look, unfortunately, I regret to admit my propensity for priority draft picks is a lot more frequent than it should be. I end up getting a lot of them, but that's, we could discuss that another time. Or might have to bring the press conferences back.
Episode 4
or 5. Episode 4. We'll blow up some balloons. I'll pop the coat back on. I'll field some questions.
Sounds good. Hey, look.
Before
we roll on to, I think this is a good opportunity to just touch on a couple of recent news over the last couple of days, and then we'll flick on to just a high-level snapshot of the league and the way we set up, if you can.
Hit me, mate. What do we got?
So Nikola Jovic, or Jovic, depending on how Croatian you are or Serbian you are, which we can ask a few of the guys in our league.
Yes, you can.
Has been extended by Miami. So just that's a 4-year, $62.5 million rookie extension. So that's a positive.
Yeah, awesome.
It's been a slow burn for Nikola, and hopefully he comes along. Look, a couple of other notes. We've got Jake LaRavia is scrimmaging with the starters at the moment for LA, so that's an interesting forethought for life after Davis and how that's going to look. Maxi Kleber for the Lakers has tweaked a quad, and we have D'Anthony Melton is going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. That's a couple of more recent ones for some of the we'll call them dollar crabs. Hey, how does that sound?
Dollar crabs. Oh yeah, getting that into episode 1. So, what's for the listeners at home? What's a dollar crab, Ryan?
Dollar crab. So we play so I'll give you a bit of a snap. But there tends to be a big push for the high echelon elite fantasy scorers in our league format, which tends to, how would you say, it costs you a lot of money when it comes to auction time. Now, when we're talking about players that don't move the needle, either sit close to the waiver or the bottom end of your roster, or just players that, like, guys around the league do not care about at all for our fantasy scoring system, they are called a dollar crab. Not so much because they're terrible NBA players, because they give you nothing for squeaks. They are. It's just our way of describing someone who just does not help you out.
They are the lifeblood of our league.
They actually are the lifeblood, and sometimes those dollar crabs can turn into some very important players, especially in fantasy playoffs and especially in grand final week. So, not to be confused with someone who you'll just disregard, but they are aptly named dollar crabs because they will only cost you $1 to get. Waivers are a mandatory dollar pickup. So essentially it's saying, hey, you're pulling someone that's not even on anyone's roster and he's still going to cost you $1, but he's a crab.
He's a crab, dearie me. Well, look, circling back to a couple more news headlines, we got Daniel Gafford spraining his ankle again, another addition to the injury list, so he's out for a couple of weeks. I'm just just hot reacting to some of these headlines. I'm going to nominate a segment every week based on the title, and I'm sure we can get into some of the heritage and history there. I'm going to add a segment here called Make Him Pay of the Week. And this week's winner, very clear winner for just a massive swing and a miss, is Philadelphia 76ers Quentin Grimes. Thought he'd have a crack at negotiating for a $30 million contract after having a solid 6 months off the bench for the Knicks. Pretty efficient, but, I don't know if that's kind of $30 million worth, averaging career highs, 14.6 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists and a steal. Thought that was worth $30 million. Tried to get the Sixers to make them pay, ended up with 8.7. So a little bit of a deviation away from 30, but hey.
If you reach for the stars.
If you reach for the moon, you'll land amongst the stars. Or at this, in Grimes' case, he's come crashing back down to Philly.
That's right. Or what was it? If you reach for the stars, at least you land on top of the world. At least you be on top of the world. I think Pitbull coined that phrase, didn't he? Yeah. One of the
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide, one of the biggest and best lyricists of the modern era. So
lyrical wordsmith, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna designate Quentin Grimes. He's this week's winner of making them pay.
Well done. We'll add that segment in. Sounds good. Thank you for that.
Oh dear.
Right. Well, I think that's enough news and injuries talk for a while. We'll skip across to give a bit of a snapshot of what has, I guess, brought us to even creating this podcast in episode 1. Is Squeak Scolari, the league itself. So, Matt, do you want me to go through some of the high levels, or do you want to run through it, or how do we want to start?
Nah, go from the front, mate. Go hot. I'll back you up. What do we got?
Cool. All right. So, just at a high level, it is an auction draft format, 16-team league with a contract setup. So, it doesn't necessarily mirror NBA contract styles in totality, but loosely we have the ability to provide different contract terms for our players, being 3A and 2C, which is just a reference to the length of time you can hold that player. So we've got NBA or contract style keeper leagues. We have 16 teams. We've got an auction draft format. We have a couple of nuances going into it, which is the requirement to every year before the auction actually kicks off, in effectively reverse order plus lottery, you are mandated to select a rookie from the previous NBA rookie draft, which is, I guess, it's a purpose to help our players try and identify talent, add some more strategy and forethought into rosters. And the incentive there is you get to keep them on the absolute minimum contract you can, which is, let's hear it, dollar crabs.
Dollar crabs.
And sometimes they are crabs, I can tell you that much. So yes, the ability to draft a rookie in round 1 prior to starting the auction draft is a key component of draft day. In-season trading, trade deadlines, all that kind of stuff still remains. In terms of our scoring, we use an efficiency-based point system. I guess I'll have to tap into Eric's knowledge on that one as to why we started down that path. I have a feeling it's got to do with a little bit of crossover with NFL, but we can go there down the track. The key components of the efficiency-based point scoring are point for point, being field goals made, no extra points for 3 points made, and so forth. It is, however, so when you're at the foul line, yes, you get a point. When you are making a bucket, yes, you'll get the 2 points or the 3 points for that bucket. But if you miss, the efficiency will remove that field goal or free throw attempt off your points tally. So it rewards efficient shooters rather than volume shooters, which is a key component of what we wanted to try and stamp out. And it's gone are the days of old fat cheeks Carmelo Anthony jacking up 60 points a game off 115 shots with no assists, no rebounds, and and no steals. So we wanted to try and avoid those kind of scenarios. 2 points for a steal, 2 points for a block. Have I missed anything? Minus scoring for turnovers. So minus one.
Yes, for turnovers. Yep.
Minus 0.5 for fouls. So Draymond Green will be impacted in that scenario. But on the flip side, and this is the more contentious piece of our scoring for, I guess, the general members of fantasy, is we are +5 for a double-double and +10 for a triple-double. So that is... Look, I understand the fact that what's the difference between 9 and 10? What's any better? Why are you giving extra bonus points for just hitting double digits? It's a line in the sand. It's a metric used by, basketball leagues around the world and fantasy players and fans all around the world to reference the fact that someone has really hit the mark in terms of overall stats for a game. So we've decided to do that. The crazy element of the +5, +10 for double doubles and triple doubles really means that you're never quite out of the game. So
yes, yeah.
It's one of those things that's created so many bad beats over the years, and I think this is where I almost liken it to the passing and running touchdowns in NFL. I know I've crossed over a couple of times, but you can be like home and hosed with the performances of your team, and then suddenly, and we call it Jokic Sundays. Like, this guy will just come in on a Sunday afternoon or a Monday afternoon, whenever the crossover is. It's Monday afternoon. And he will just drop a ginormous 35-point triple-double on high efficiency. And he's won you the week. And it's crazy. It's like hitting a running back hitting 3 running touchdowns, and suddenly the rest of your team scoring 7 points, and they've just dropped to 40 and just blown the other team out of the water. It's kind of that scenario.
Fourth and long, and the Hail Mary is good, and all of a sudden you're back into it. Doubles and triple doubles and stuff like that, they're a benchmark in terms of your level of contribution to the game. Absolutely, you should be highlighting that kind of output. But no lead is safe. Exactly. And in such a big way with some of these guys that contribute so comprehensively across the box score. They can absolutely get you back into it. And, some of the sneaky ones, sometimes it doesn't need to be points. It can be a whole bunch of turnovers sometimes if that gets you over the line. But, rebounds and assists and steals, like there's guys that contribute in different ways that are still going to help you in your matchup every week. And it just adds a whole complete different flavour.
It does. And just to round that out, so 1 point for a rebound, 1 point for assist as well. So you effectively got points, rebounds, assists at a point per point. You've got your 2 for steals, 2 for blocks, -1 for turnovers, minus 0.5 for fouls. You've got a triple-double, double-double bonus. And so efficiency-based scoring system. Crazy, fun, comes down to the wire. The absolute, balance with the $200 salary cap starting point, auction draft, 4-person keeper takeover, up to 4-person, depending on what you would like to do. The dollar value contracts is a critical component of that. I feel like I'm missing a couple of other things, but we can sort of build on that as we.
For sure. Look, for I suppose probably what we could do just to establish a little bit of a baseline, let's just go through some of the stats from last season. So with the scoring system that we have, you'll familiarise yourself with some of these numbers through the season as to, what some of these guys will average, and what's like a good score. I mean, I would say a lot of the time, in terms of your real big contributors, what was Jokic averaging? Because I can't quite see the stats because the season's rolled over, but he was averaging what, like 50, 60, 70 points a game?
It was close to 50. It was close to 50, and I think that is that's the key component of that. He's your outlier. You've got an absolute outlier in Nikola Jokic. He's the cheat code in this league. He's the one and only person in the 10 years that I've played in this that has just taken the absolute mickey out of our scoring system. From two through to player 400 or whatever. The balancing act is there. You've got players like Giannis and Sabonis and those guys who are, and even Shy, like. Yes, they will get you double doubles. Yes, they will get you your triple doubles. They'll get you the extra bonus points. But the efficiency of Jokic just completely blows everyone out of the water. So there's exceptions to every rule. We say it's as balanced as we've been able to get it in 10 years, and here we go again. Making me a liar. Making me a liar. Yeah. Sitting on episode 1, telling everyone how good it is,
and we've got the title for the episode. So look, I would probably say as a rough baseline in terms of numbers that you really want to be hitting, would say, look, really in terms of what, looking through the waiver wire, for example, if you can get people that are averaging high teens at their absolute minimum, probably anything north of that, if that's kind of your baseline for your roster, you're going to go deep into the finals. You're going to have a really solid team.
Yep.
The waiver wire, because there are 16 of us in the league now, and how large is the roster? Is it 12?
13, yeah.
It's 13 now. You are scraping the barrel sometimes at certain points in the season, which is where those crabs come in handy. But half the time, you'll be lucky to see some of those guys get 9 to 10 fantasy points a game. But sometimes it's all you need. But there is such a massive disparity there. Getting those guys in the high teens and low 20s, that's going to get your average score really consistent.
Yeah, that's right. And that's good point you've reminded me. So 3 waiver acquisitions per week, weekly matchups, daily changes. And when you're looking at that, every waiver pickup does cost. So minimum of $1, silent bidding on waivers as well. So there's always a nuance.
Yeah.
I think whilst I haven't coined it yet with a title, I think we should bring into each episode an element of our league setup, and it's almost like pick a section of the Constitution just to build on what we've given as a baseline to show anyone listening what the nuances are of this league, and how it I guess how you can extract value and make your team better. But no, just going back to what you said in terms of the scoring. So that high teens to 20, if you can land that as an average across your board, that'll be a good team. If the waiver cutoff last year, sort of mid to late season, was about 11 and a half points a game, so you could pick up anyone from the waivers for about that. Most people looking at 15 plus, and then obviously you got your 20 to 25s. Pretty good. 25 to 35 is an elite player, and then you've got your 35 plus, which will end up being your Sabonis, your Giannis, your Shires, your Jokic, your Wembys, those kind of guys. So it's an interesting setup. So I think that's a good starting point for everyone. But
and then welcome
any questions on that setup and why we believe it is positive. I think
Just for the hell of it, I thought I'd have a look really quickly just to pop pop a lid on it pretty nicely. Way down the other end of the scale, Scoot Henderson averaging 12 points a game last season. So really, so much, so
Yeah,
much to be
and
desired. But yeah,
you want a cross comparison with probably one of the best RDs we've had over the years with Wemby.
with Wemby, hey, look,
Go on, bring up Wemby's.
look.
Bring up
I'll
Wemby's.
look up Wemby. I will say I did draft Luka Doncic as a rookie. One of my crowning achievements. I'm so proud of that, and just everyone in my fictional organisation that was involved in bringing Luka Doncic
My
through to the
fictional
organisation.
organisation.
My fictional organisation. Okay, Wembanyama, what do we got here? Rostered by 100% of the league, or 100% of the players. 37 fantasy points a game.
There you go. So, and this is where we explain the value of our RD rookie. We'll call it RD bidding process. The opportunity to, I guess, rebalance the league with a reverse order. Reverse draft order selection off ladder position the previous year with the inclusion of draft lottery as well, just so we can avoid that tanking scenario.
Yep.
Funny those tanking rules come in just after Chris managed to tank his way to pick one for Wembanyama. We will, that's
by the
episode
by.
22.
He's declined to comment.
He's declined.
Actually, when been prompted.
That's probably because Eric asked him the question.
Look.
That's a perfect example. You are getting that rookie player for $1. The highest someone has paid for a player in our league in an auction draft is $9. To give you to paint that picture, there's a 3+1 option on in terms of a contract for Wembanyama post his RD selection, which essentially gives that player a $1 contract for that period, and that just when you got $1 player hitting 37 points per game, it just opens up your roster so much. And on the flip side, you're talking about 12 points per game with Scoot Henderson. Man, you're scrambling, or you're just chucking him to the sea with the rest of the crabs, right? So,
yeah, he can scoot off somewhere else. Yeah. Look, I had to do it, but I think just touching on some of the Eric and CJ stuff, and then if we're going to be painting a better picture for so many of these elements of the league, just to give you guys more of an understanding of all of the underpinnings and what's happened and how it's all happened.
Yep.
Super excited to get stuck into it. So yeah. I think it's going to be really fun.
Definitely. So look, we're coming. I think we're coming up on the hour mark already.
I think we are.
I don't know how we did that. So obviously, one of two things where we either know what we're talking about and we're talking a lot about it, or we just love to talk and we have
no idea what
we're doing, or no realization of what time it is. So
it's definitely the second one. Unfortunately, It's the second one.
And that's fine. We'll go with that. Either way, I was just worried I wouldn't get through episode 1. So yeah, that's
mate.
Let's just go with that. So look, things to watch for coming up. I'm thinking over the course of the next couple of episodes, we will introduce some of the managers that are in our top tier league, the Squeak Scolari Trophy, and just go through the managers, some of their bios, a little bit about them, paint a bit of context as to how they're perceived in the league. I think we're going to talk about everyone's keeper position for the upcoming draft. So we've got our draft set for the 19th of October. And we will be, it'll be an in-person and online draft for the people who are international. But, the bulk of us tend to get together. So we can give some context and grades to our current keeper positioning and our current draft day spend, cap availability after all the off-season trades have occurred.
For sure.
We can build into some of your your highly anticipated segments for Make Him Pay of the week. And
Make him
I
pay.
think there's
Yep.
a few people around our league anyway who will be happy that we titled the pod the way it did. So yeah, hopefully,
Big time.
we don't have any
Big
public backlash from the 3 listeners we get. So,
no, it's going to be good. No, we'll start going through those, and we can probably go because we've got it divvied up in 2 conferences for the league anyway, so we can probably kind of do it up in a couple of different chunks. Some of the traditions and the recurring themes, moments, in-jokes from some of the seasons, just to kind of, again, like I was saying before, just paint a bigger picture, because there's so much that makes this tapestry of this league of what we do. I'm really keen, dude. I'm so glad that we finally got this happening. And yeah, we're going to get some momentum before the season starts. I am super keen. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much. And I look forward to episode 2 as soon as we can sit down and make it happen. Cool.
Rock and roll, dude. Let's do it.
Thanks, mate. And thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoy your evening, and we'll see you shortly for episode 2. Cheers.
Rock and roll.